Hi, thanks for joining us today. This is our eighth blog in a series called 25 Fundraising Ideas for Churches. Different ideas, techniques, approaches that you can use to really enhance the giving in your church. This is the eighth in our series of 25. And this one I'm entitling What Your Donors Are Trying to Tell You. So I encourage you to read the blog that's associated with this topic as well. I'm often asked by churches, nonprofit ministries, probably the number one question I'm asked is, "Hey, can you help me find a new major donor, or how do you find major donors, or can you help us find major donors?" And they're usually pretty shocked when I tell them that those donors are probably already giving to their organization or their church, and they're sitting in the audience of your church every Sunday or most Sundays, and they've just been lurking around in your database, and you haven't recognized their capacity for giving. In this series for 25 key ideas, we're trying to really hit you up here with great tips and practices to increase giving. So today, what we're talking to you about is your donor patterns and your data. And if you're like me, your eyes are probably about to roll in the back of your head when you start talking about data points and things like that. However, it's an important part of what we do in trying to increase our fundraising is to pay attention to what the data is telling us. I tell our clients all the time, before I even talk to our client about their strategies to go forward, we like to look at the data. The data is always honest with us. It tells us the truth. It really helps us understand where things are in a local church in that moment. So before you even go for some kind of professional's assessment, like hiring a company like ours, you can just look at a few red flags on your own. Number one is lapsed donors. Do you see a longtime giver, regular, consistent giving, suddenly begin to lapse on the way that they're giving? They're changing their patterns. They're not giving the same way that they used to. I'd pay attention to that person. I'd reach out to them. It may be something simple like their credit card expired, or they've just been traveling a great deal. But I'd pay attention when you see a real change there. Another point that we point out on the blog is when you see significant changes in the giving levels. Maybe they've been giving you a very generous amount of money on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis, and suddenly that number drops consistently. And so, or let's think about the other thing, and that is maybe they're going along, say, around $25 a month, and then they jump, say, to $200 a month. When a donor changes their patterns like that, somebody needs to pay attention to that. Maybe drop a note and just say, "Hey, thanks so much for the sacrifice that you're making to really help us meet our budget here this month." A third thing is look at pledges. Are they fulfilling pledges and promises that they've made to give? Maybe that was toward a building project or a mission project. Often during a campaign or something like this, midway through there, we might want to even send a notice out to people and just to connect with them. The easiest way to do that is to send people kind of a chart and just show, talk about the project, talk about their commitment, then show what they've given throughout the year. It's kind of a non-intrusive, non-offensive way to say, okay, here's where you committed, here's where you are. And then the donor can see themselves if they're running behind what they wanted to do. A fourth area is just watch for the consistent and increasing giving patterns. At the beginning of this blog, I talk about major donors. Well, the best way to identify a potential large donor is to assess a donor who is a consistent or low level contribution giver. You'd be amazed how many major donors are people who have already been very faithful at lower amounts of money in their giving so far. While it certainly helps to invest in a professional assessment, and I kind of have to watch myself here, I'm talking on both sides of my mouth. Our company does those types of assessments for churches. But these are just four things that you don't need someone like me to come in and give you this information. Just by looking at these four data points, you can see a lot about what's going on with the giving in your church. As always, you can reach out to us, continue the dialogue. Let's keep the conversation going. We're always here to answer your questions. With our company, Nonprofit DNA, and our partnership with ACS Technologies. Thanks.